Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bundesliga show, brought to you by Over the Bar. We're checking in tonight for a bit of a first, our first ever, of this season at the very least, a prediction show. Basically, we're just going to be running through in about 10 to 12 minutes all our thoughts and predictions for the weekend ahead, just as a bit of extra content for all you lovely viewers and subscribers out there. So. It's not going to be anything chunky or, anything in depth. It's just purely going to be myself and Mark taking it in turns to predict this weekend's footy. It's an interactive thing as well. So if you're watching live right now, ping in your suggestions and your thoughts. We absolutely love that. And we'll try and give some shout outs as and where we can do. And then obviously, if you're watching subsequently, which is going to be natural, of course, because it's only going to be a short show, ping them into the comments as well. Like the show as well for our comment, for our thoughts and predictions, and of course subscribe as well to the channel. Right then, Mark. So you're going to kick us off with Friday night's fixture, which is going to be an important one for Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously it's a big game for Heidenheim, probably more than anyone, I would say. It's one of the big games, one of the most exciting matches they're going to play this season for the Heidenheim. Obviously, they've not got a point on the board yet. Defeats against Wolfsburg and Hoffenheim last week. Dortmund haven't quite hit the straps by any means. They've got 4 points out of 6, but I think both have been underwhelming performances, to say the least. But for me, I think this has got a 3-0 win written all over it, really. I just think, Dortmund are much better defensive side nowadays than be, and Heidenheim, I just think it's a task too big for them to go to the Signal Iduna and get something. So a very comfortable, but not massively impressive 3-0 win for Dortmund here.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, moving on to the first Saturday's games, Leverkusen, Darmstadt for me. I think when we were sharing our ideas, myself and Mark had some relatively big scores in mind. I'm going to average it out though, so I'll go 5-0 for the home side. I think it's going to be a tough introduction for Darmstadt, and could quite possibly be a bit of a humbling for Darmstadt in their second away match of the season. Back over to you, Mark, for Hoffenheim.
Yeah, an interesting game between two company clubs, this one, and two clubs in different levels of form for me. Obviously, Hoffenheim got that impressive win last week away at Heidenheim, but it was far from impressive, as we discussed on Monday. And they have actually signed Borussia this week as well, which I think is a really good signing for them from Augsburg. But I still feel as though Wolfsburg have just got too much. As I mentioned on the last show, I believe that Wolfsburg are going places this season, and they seem to have, Niko Kovac has got a tune out of that squad. I don't think he'll be easy away in Hoffenheim, but I still think it's easily enough to have a 2-1 away win. Probably another goal from Jonas Wind as well.
Yeah, he's been training this week. I think he might have got a little knock, but he looks like he's likely to play, which is great. Werder versus Mainz, that's a tricky one for me. Obviously, Werder have not had the greatest start, and obviously there's a lot of chat at the moment in the transfer world of the Füllkrug deal going through over to BVB, which is massive and interesting in itself. So I don't expect him to be playing. Mainz have flattered to deceive, so I'll back them for a narrow 2-1 win as well.
For the away side or the home side?
Yeah, for Mainz, 2-1 to Mainz, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and then obviously we've got a game that two teams that are usually struggling down at the bottom, and most people will probably have them down once again to be fighting for their lives this season. Augsburg versus Bochum. Again, I think probably both sides had they've had one. I would say Bochum had one terrible performance and one good performance last week against Dortmund. But my problem with Bochum is that they're very much a home side. That's the problem with them, and I also feel as though Augsburg tend to put most of the best performances at home. I think there's a little bit of pressure on Augsburg to win this game because they do have a better squad, even without Borussia. And I think the fans will be expecting them to win this one. I think they just about will do, in my opinion. I think a 2-1 home win here. But, probably a Sven Michel goal as well. Obviously, he's started quite well. They don't lose many games at home, but this is a game that they need to be winning, really, the Bavarians. And I think they'll just about do it, 2-1.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to clarify for anyone who's tuned in, maybe expecting the fantasy show. The fantasy show is tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. UK time. This is our bonus prediction show, which is mainly going to be on a Thursday night. We're having to do the fantasy show on a Friday morning just due to availability of myself and Runa in the main. So tomorrow morning, check in for that. That is when we shall be recording, for anyone who's wondering. As it happens, I get to do a Stuttgart prediction. Oh dear, I was hoping to avoid this. Tricky. I've been impressed with what Stuttgart have done so far this season, minus that 25-ish minutes of pressure and kind of poor play defensively. I'll still think Freiburg will be very strong. 1-1.
Yeah, there we go. And then Gladbach versus Bayern. I mean, we all know how much Bayern hate going to Borussia Park, but obviously they lost there last year. They've lost there a lot of times since we've been covering the show, and in the last 10 years in general. I think they've only won there once in the last 8 Bundesliga seasons, incredibly, which is some stat. But I don't think this Gladbach side is as strong, in my opinion. You know, I've mentioned my worries about them for this season. I think obviously they got that decent draw at Augsburg on the opening day, but then last week they were absolutely woeful when they were battered by an excellent Leverkusen side. But I think they'll compete here because they always do against Bayern. But I've got a feeling that Harry Kane and the boys will just about get a narrow 3-2 away win. I think it will be a good game, this one. But for me, Bayern will finally end the Gladbach hoodoo in this game.
Yeah, you kind of feel it's about time that they will get rid of their hoodoo. So we've got 2 games left. Frankfurt, Köln up next for me. Obviously, there's a lot going around Frankfurt at the moment with players in and going out. There's going to be a lot of concentration on Kolo Muani. I think an improved bid has come in from PSG, and it's obviously at the moment whether it's been accepted or not by Frankfurt. I haven't actually been on my phone that much in the last few hours to check, so I'm slightly out the know. Regardless, if he doesn't play, it's going to be a close game, I think. And Frankfurt haven't got off to a great start anyway, so I'll also go with another tentative. Frankfurt will probably just edge it. 2-1 Frankfurt for me.
Yeah, then a really exciting game to finish the weekend. This weekend, obviously, Union Berlin versus Leipzig. I think it's worth bearing in mind that Union have incredibly won the last 4 league meetings between these clubs. They've actually done the double over Leipzig the last 2 seasons, which is some stat. And I just feel as though I'm just so excited about this Union Berlin team in general. I just think they look like an amazing side. I think Leipzig have been hit and miss a little bit so far. I think they look a good side and they will get going, but the fixtures haven't been kind to them, with away games at Leverkusen and now Union in the first 3 matches. And I've just got a feeling that Union will get another win over their East German rivals here. I've gone for a 2-1 home win here to complete the weekend.
Yeah, lovely stuff. And we've done that in extra speedy time, actually, because we were hoping to do it in roughly 10 to 12 minutes. So just pick up on a comment, actually, that came in earlier from Seth. What do you think of the touted start for Moritz Nicolas in goal for Borussia Mönchengladbach? Obviously, because Jonas Omlin has undergone surgery from hurting himself in training, I think it was. So I guess that backs up, Mark, your prediction of Bayern Munich, because Omlin's come in and done good work since replacing Jan Sommer, I think, and he's been a very solid goalkeeper for them. But I think that'll be a tricky one for Moritz Nicolas in net against Kane and co.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a tough game. It really is. I just think for Gladbach in general, the only reason why I tip them to get 2 is because they always perform well against Bayern. So, but this is a game that could easily be like, a 3 or 4-1 in truth. But a lot of neutrals will be hoping that Gladbach can produce the usual tricks against Bayern to kind of get an exciting dent into Bayern's title race early on. But I just don't see it coming this time. And by the way, usually I do tip Gladbach to do well at home against Bayern because I tend to find that in football records are often tend to be repeated in many ways. And some teams, they just don't match up well against others. And it definitely seems to be the way. Obviously, we mentioned also with Union and Leipzig, Union definitely have the better of that rivalry in recent years. And obviously, Gladbach have had the better of Bayern. But I just feel as though, with the losses that Bayern, the Gladbach have taken and the strengthening that Bayern have had. I just feel as though it's finally time for the Bavarians to get that win in Borussia Park this time.
Absolutely. I think that'll do it for this evening. So thank you for everyone that's tuned in live, and thank you for everyone that will tune in subsequently. If you want to get your predictions in, please do smash them in below. Let us know if you agree or disagree with ours. We want this prediction show to obviously be a hit and for everyone to enjoy it and to be an interactive thing. So do make sure that you have your say. Just to reiterate, Fantasy Football Show is tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. UK time. We have had to move things around a little bit due to schedules for myself and particularly Runa. Obviously, we need his advice and tips, or else we would be useless. That's it from us tonight, and I'll just hand over to you, Mark, to finish things off.
Yeah, so don't forget to check out our Twitter at @OverTheBarFB and at @OverTheBarExtra, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the channel. Yeah, we've gone over 1,000, and we want to keep going. So yeah, let us know your comments, your predictions as well in the comments. So thanks a lot, guys, and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Cheers all.